one of the things that I'm constantly reading and thinking about is how technology has changed music. And I've gone on this spiel a couple times in other forms, but you look at the reason songs are 3 to 4 minutes is because of the original 78 RPM records were like the 10 inches were 3 minutes, the 12 inches were 4 minutes. The format dictated it, right? And then you listen to any 80s music. It's like the technology dictate why is there a bunch of synths? Well, because they got invented in the 80s and the technology got there. So everyone's like, oh, this is a cool new tool. Let me play around with it. You can literally hear how music has shifted and evolved over the years. You go from the singles of the 60s, the 45s or the 60s and stuff, to the full album experience of the 90s, to maybe back to the single model now. And it's all driven by technology, where people are listening to the music, how they're listening to it, the formats that they're listening to it in. And I keep saying, I'm not going to be surprised if a 20-second song becomes the number one hit, soon, because everybody's consuming it on TikTok and stuff. It's that's how people are hearing music. So right. In some ways, Old Town Road was a 20-second number one song, because it's people weren't listening to the whole song; they were just listening to little clips, and that's how it became what it became. So in some ways, 20 seconds of that song really was the number one single, not the whole song.
Right.
So yeah. Again, I don't know if that answered the question. I have a lot of thoughts around how technology has evolved, and evolves with music, and how it sort of changes the habits and the way it's consumed. But which is why I think what Andrew was saying earlier is so important. It's we keep talking about the quality of the song and how and we're talking about the way it's always been. But maybe people don't care as much about some of these things that we talk about, because we come from that world. All of us, the three of us, come from that world and understand that. But there's a whole nother generation of people that don't. So maybe the way technology is dictating music now is it's going to be different,
Yeah, probably. I mean, what's your thought on the same thing, Andrew? Interesting to hear.
Yeah, I think I say the same exact thing. Not to be boring on that front, but I say the same exact thing.
Yeah.
It's there are people going to know that they're not going to know the difference. Well, maybe I should bite my tongue on that. They're a vast majority are going to think that the way the song ends up on the phone, even whether they get it mastered or not, people might not even know what mastering is, which stinks. But if they're able to just create and release it, because I think that that's just such an exciting thing for people, like Matt is saying. He had this idea. He went to LA, worked with Jack Douglas, and then waited for it to get printed it out, went to get it mastered, finally got a CD, and was okay, cool, now I can sell this. Now kids are oh shoot, I heard this beat, I'm gonna rap over it, or oh man, I have this idea, I'm gonna play guitar. Hey, would you mind banging on the table real quick? Okay, cool. And then boom, it's up on SoundCloud, or boom, they just made a YouTube video and that's that, and then their song is out. It's they don't know whether they need to be getting that copywritten, or and so it's that's also in this chain that we're talking about internally of creating this partnership line of helping people not get their idea stolen. We don't deal with anything like that. Just Pro Tools doesn't go hey, you own 30% of this song, and Frank owns 45, and so that's where the line comes in. So it's kind of teaching the kids, but also it's they're just so excited to get content out. Content right now is seems like everything, and I keep on saying the word but I just watched an artist has been on TikTok for a while, and once Taylor Swift's new record just came out, and this artist made a video of herself getting in a bathtub with all of her clothes on, and it was maybe 10 seconds long. It had a ridiculous amount of views because she was listening to Taylor Swift's record and she was just getting in her bathtub, and that was what she decided to put up. But now because of that, all these people are starting to follow her, and it's such a weird. It made me go, "What in the world is going on? That is what people are going to and going." I'm into that. That's something that's funny, or that's content. So I think that it's not shot on a you know, a red camera. You know, it's shot on her phone, and so people are putting out songs on their phone, and people are gonna go, man, okay, great, yeah, I'm into that because you just created that, and now we have it.
Mm.
Yes.
Awesome.